let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's going well tonight. It is blistering hot at the moment. It's 31 degrees Celsius in this room, which is about 87.6 Fahrenheit. It's hot. Alright, let's get straight into it. We're continuing on with the redesign. I'll do this so you guys can see what is happening. I'm just going to put it into this mode here. We're going to click on the redevelopment section of it. So I've done a little bit more. So now if you do that, that all happens. If you do that, that's perfectly fine. If you remove this, it now just has the organization there. We've got to do the public links. We've got to do the sprint planning. We've got to do the document files. Yeah, we're just got to find out a good design around that. We've got the linked objects. We've got to do the linked objects. We'll probably copy the design that we've got and try and see what we can do with it. Which reminds me, I am going to open up a new terminal. I'm going to go CD. I'm going to go to NearBeach 031. We're going to go source VM bit. Don't I have a virtual environment? No, I don't. Python 3 and manage. Virtual, oh no, not managed, sorry, Python 3. There we go, and then source, VM, bin, activate. Alright, cool. From here, what do we want to do? We want to go Python 3, manage. Actually, we want to install everything first. Pip, install, requirements, dev, text, easy done. It'll just take a little while to install everything. Won't take too long. I might stand up in a minute. Just gonna move some of this out of my way. Need to organize my desk again. I've got a number of books and camera gear on it. Alright, and we're just gonna run the server. Oh. Gonna migrate everything first. This is first install for this. Create super user. We'll just call admin. All right, easy done. And then Python 3 manage. Run the server. This in. There we go. All right. So if we go to localhost now, we go in with the admin. Done. I'm just going to do that so you guys can see what's actually happening. I'm going to create a new project. We're just going to say refactoring NearBeach. All right, easy done. We'll just create the project. And then what I want to do is I want to create a couple of new tasks. Redesign UI/UX. Having worked with the new UI and UX, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I did a lot of the things that I'm doing. For example, it's just this and groups, and then from there it defaults to everything. We're just going to create another new task. What am I wanting to do? Redesign the database. I think I flicked something into my eye just before. We need that with the same organization. All right, cool. And then what we want to do, I just want to go back here. We're just going to go into the project. We're just going to link the objects. We're just going to link both of those tasks. So, however, I don't want one to relate. I want one being blocking. Is currently blocking. No, is blocked by. So yeah, we'll probably keep this similar design here for the linked objects, at least for the moment. We still need the status. which I still do like. Oh, we've just hit an ad break. All right, for those on YouTube, we run ads every half an hour. That's just to stop the pre-rolled ads because they suck. You joined here today. We tend to do this whilst waiting for the ads to finish. So no one misses out on any content. You get to see this. Yeah, just making sure I'm clean. She'll also review my code, but she'll do that a little bit later. Okay, how are you going, Socks? You like happy there? Ooh, excuse me. Here we go. All right, we've got about 25 seconds left of the ads. As you can, oh, she's done now. All right, say hi to everyone, Socks. Okay, about 15 seconds. Yeah, say hi. Are you gonna say hi? Oh, boo. Yeah, they're watching you, Socks. They're watching you. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. Okay, so we'll probably keep a similar design like this. We've also got to do the documents 1, 2. I'm probably going to take some inspiration from Embraco itself. So if we go into the media, let's say we go into the hero images, we have, not at the moment, we have the ability to do something like this. We also have a search bar in here too, which I might utilize, take inspiration from, I should say. I think when we open up everything, there's the ability to drag and drop stuff into here too. Now we won't need to do it at that level, but we do want to keep like something like this, where the user can click into these images and they'll open up and, well, you know, show the image if it's an image. If it's a document, it'll show a document sort of thing. So yeah, we'll take some inspiration from here, but it won't be as large. Let's just say that. All right. So do I want to do the link objects right away, or probably won't do the link objects right away. I'll probably do the documents and files. So yeah, when you create this folder, so I'm just trying to get that straight. The idea being is, at the moment, if we go into here, we click on this, you can actually do one of 3 things. You can upload a document, which goes through the upload wizard. You can add a link, which goes through this, so adding a link to the site. For example, let's say NearBeach homepage, like so, and I'll just add it in like that. If we upload a document, now I'm not running Minio at the moment, so this will fail. Chuck that over there. Let's do shoulder face. There we go. Or adding a folder. Like so, and then you're able to drag and drop these into the folder like so, or up to the parent level. You've also got the ability to delete, in which case that asks you if you want to do that. It's done. So we're going to keep, I don't mind this layout here. We're just going to tweak it. Yeah, I'm going to move the create up to here. We also kind of want to search in here. So with Embraco, if we go up here and we go beach, up here, it should just, you know, search for stuff. If I go, oops, I was meant to click on media, and I go beach at the, let's do RC1 because I know it exists at this level. Oh, no, sorry, that was meant to be here. RC1, there's nothing on there. Just gonna changes. Yeah, we don't want to make those changes. C1. Yeah, no things. So we're gonna have that sort of same UI UX. Same sort of experience and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely having a search. Definitely having the icon still. Might consider doing something like this. So when you actually hover over it, yeah, it'll show something like that where the images are like this, and then you got like a PDF. But I don't actually have any on here. Yeah, all right, not a problem. So yeah, I'll do the documents and files first because yeah, linked objects, it's gonna be like that, but I want to review a couple of things and notes and comments. We'll see if we get to them. I don't think we will tonight. Yeah, let's just close all tabs. Let's minimize that. Let's open up the design. Let's go into source components. Now, at the moment, these are all under projects. These will be very generic components. When we actually port this over into NearBeach, the idea being is we could use these components on any object almost. So yeah, we're going to go to project page. We're going to go into document and we go up the document component. So this is pretty much just this down here at the moment. We are going to go document component, and straight away I'm probably going to add in a bit of padding. So padding is going to be 0 and then 0.5 rem. Like we've been doing in the last couple of weeks, we're going to actually do this on mobile phone first. So we're going to go to the iPhone 11, we're going to untick that, we're just going to scroll down, and yeah, I'm happy with that in that size. Yep, that's perfectly fine. Now on tablet, this is where we've got to go at media, we go medium screen, and then we go padding, and it's going to be 0.5 rem and 1 rem. So if I move that up to tablet, we should see now, oh, actually, now that I have a look at it like this, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna do this instead. Yeah, kind of like that. Makes sense with this one up here. And then yeah, these ones that are a little closer to the edge. All right. Let's bump back down to mobile. Actually, let's bump over into a larger screen. Now with the large screen, yeah, this is where I can definitely go padding. Just wondering, I'll keep the same for the top, 0.5 rem and then 1 rem for each side. Yeah, kind of like that for here, because then it matches up with that properly. All right, easy done. We might get rid of some of this text and so forth like that. And now I'm going to bump back down to phone. And I'm going to change this. Let's say project documentation. done. Just a simple little line change there. Yeah, I want to have it so the user knows that this is project documentation. Now, I don't know if I want this upload these instructions here whatsoever, so it might be the case that I just remove them to see how it looks. I think it'll make sense if we just key stuff in here. Okay, so one thing I want to do, open up project page. So we've got the document component already. Okay, easy done. We're just going to go into that implement, usage and stuff like that. So it's down here. I'm just wondering where I'm going to store the documentation for the moment. As in like a variable. I could just store it here because once again, this is just a vertical slice. We're just getting this out to show people what it look like. And we'll get feedback, we'll iterate on that feedback. And then once everyone's sort of happy how the UI UX is most likely going to look, we'll solidify it by moving it over into NearBeach, and we'll write out the API endpoints for it, and also handle the CRUD on the front end. So we've got that documentation. We've got add code. We don't want sort of the add code there. What we kind of want is we want to create and search file here. So I want a div class equals document search like this. And in here, what we want to do, document search. This will actually be like that. We're just going to put width 100% for the moment, and we'll figure everything out. We essentially want to drop down. So very similar to, if we go back into here, very similar to how this create works. When you click on it, gives you the ability to create things. We're only going to have 3 items in there. And if we actually have a look, this is God. Firefox, what have we done? This is just a simple button, a UUI button in Umbraco. The idea being is when it's clicked, you've got these items down here. This might actually be another component, because I can see us using this component quite frequently. In which case, yeah, let's start creating it. And let's have a look at the equivalent on Bootstrap. So it's part of the drop down sort of thing. So you got like the class drop down, and then you've got all the classes and all that kind of fun stuff. So we're going to implement a similar thing here. So first things first is we want prefab. We want to right hand click, we're going to create a new directory, and we're going to call it drop down. That'll be 2 words, won't it? And then it'll be drop. And because it's 2 words, I'm happy with it just calling it drop down. Oops, that was meant to be me doing something like this. We're going to go give class equals drop down. And we're going to add code in here at the moment, like so. Down here, we're just going to go div drop down. Yeah, we'll figure this out in a second. Now, these do look like buttons. We don't want a button in this sort of case. If you actually have a look, they are buttons actually. And we already have a button class that we could potentially use. So I'm just gonna bring that in. Oh, but that uses... It has object state and stuff like that. All right, not a problem. Let's actually go into this object state. So the object state is required. And we have particular enums for it. And we do need a label. So I'm just going to go into this. It'll be no action. Yeah, all right, cool. So straight off the bat, let's, no, wrong one. There we go. Straight off the bat, let's also import, this will be object state enum. That'll be from there. We're all fine with all that. And then down here, we're just going to go turn this into a variable. We're going to go object state enum dot no action. Everyone will be happy with that. And then the label, because we set it up so the label is connected with the ID, and that's how it works. What we want to do is we want to go create. Now, the problem with the label, and we might change this, is even though we go down here, we've got button text. Let's yeah, because we do a conversion at one point. So if there's any certain state or anything like that, we do a conversion of it. Yeah, we might have a relook at how the buttons are working once we sort of implement a few more over the place and be like, let's re-implement them in a different way. It might be button with state and button component. Where button with state has the ability to pass through a state of the object. That way you don't need to pass this through on everything. Yeah, but we'll figure it out. All right, so button component. We've got the object state, object no action. We've got the label create. Yeah, it would be good if... Oh, sorry. We could pass through icons and stuff like that, but if we were going to do that, we would essentially then do it in here. We would do it in here. We would actually drop our own buttons. Yeah. Actually, I kind of like that idea. I'm gonna get rid of this. The reason being is it gives me more control. Alright, so we'll just have a button for the moment. And then we'll have the div class equals drop down content. Like so. I'm just going to add in a couple of, wondering if it should be an unsorted list. I mean, unsorted list does kind of work. I've also just realized that how am I going to get the triggers to work? So the idea is if we have variables coming through and we're going to reuse this particular component everywhere, we need to be wary of the emit patterns. think that's wrong. Yeah, that's wrong. Way off. Alright, define emits. Sorry, just this chair's very, very squeaky. What we want to do is we want to have drop down item clicked. Alright, simple, easy, we'll keep it like that. Define methods, drop down item clicked, easy done. And what we'll do is we'll go and we'll actually need a little bit more information in here. We will need what method we kind of want to hit. Or what triggers it. So that will be emits dot, oh, this is where I'm going to look this up. Just having a quick gander at this. Oh, it's a function. All right, cool. That's why I couldn't find it. So it's a function. We pass that information through and we're all happy. All right, so we also need to define our props, which surprisingly happened, I think before. Const props equals define props. And what we want in here is that. What we also want is we want we actually want a label. It's going to be type of string required equals true. So there won't be a then we want drop down items. That's going to be type of array as we'll figure out what that required is going to be true. All right, so the button label is going to be here. I also need to define my refs. Define refs. So const menu open equals false. All right, easy done. And then what we want to do is function drop down menu clicked. I'm just getting that in alphabetical order, and then it'll be menu open dot value equals the false of that. So just doing the switcheroo. We're all happy with that. So that should be fine. Class equals drop. Yeah, actually, no, I don't need class for that just yet. I'm just going to do that. Type equals button. Easy done. V on. Sorry, click. Equal drop down menu clicked. Easy done. We can back to put that on. Actually, no, I like it there. Yeah. what we're going to do, you'll notice here we've got a prop type and all that kind of fun jazz and so forth like that. This actually should be put in into utilities, but I won't do that just yet. What I want to do under utilities with the enums, we've got a bunch of stuff here. What we want to actually do is we want to create another file and we want to call it drop down not an enum, sorry, interface. Down menu into menu item, drop down items interface.ts. All right, cool. Like so. What this will look like is something very similar to this. However, this is not correct. It's meant to be like that. My linter has gone mental. So we don't need to import any component. We just need to export interface. And we've got the interface drop-down menu interface. So we've got a label. That's going to be a string. We've got a So we've got a label. We want to know what to trigger. So it'll be called a trigger. And I believe at the moment we'll stick with a string. I'm just wondering if I can pass through functions and stuff like that. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. And the reason being is that's just going to cause a lot of confusion. Whereas if we've got a trigger, we can then do a switch case statement and be like, all right, cool, if it's this trigger, we do this, if it's this, we do this, and so forth like that. So much easier. All right, so we've got a trigger, we've got a string. I'm gonna keep it like that. We might have an icon, in which case, yeah, we need a component. Easy done. We want to deal with the because it's a drop down, we definitely want an ARIA label. All right, cool. This one, which I want to sort of copy, I'm just going to put that one over there for reference. So we want to go over here. We've got like the props. This is for the drop down. We've got this as prop type, and then we're just going to put in the drop down items interface. We do need to import prop type. And I think I need to make this an array. And we'll just hit ads. All right, so an ad break. Hopefully everyone's going well. It is heating up really fast in this room. We'll see how long I can stream tonight. Honestly, it depends. It's 32 degrees Celsius in here. It's hot. For those wanting Fahrenheit, 90. 90. I'm gonna stand. Alright. Got about 50 seconds left of the ads. Oh, sorry. Very odd. Oh, that caught me off guard. About 30 seconds left. Yeah, I'm getting there slowly. Hopefully I get the document stuff sort of laid out today. And then hopefully over the next couple of days I can get some more stuff laid out and so forth like that. That way, and welcome back everyone. That way I can start working on more of the Django side of things because I've got to get that moving too. Yeah, it's the first week of January. I was hoping to get all of this out. Just didn't. Alright, so we've got the props, we've got all of that how we want it to do. So that has to match that sort of interface. That's awesome. We don't have the props in here at the moment. So what we want to do, I'm just going to do a... Usually a lot of the times we will just do it as an item. Like we would break this up into smaller and smaller components instead of having something so large in here. So going over here, what we want to do is we're going to create a new folder and we're going to call it, this will be drop down list. And then under there, we're also going to create a new folder, drop down item. Alright. So, drop down item. Yep, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. The reason being for doing this is it will mean this is a lot smaller. So there's our drop down list. In fact, we can get rid of most of that and just do something like that. And then what we could do is we could have a simple vbind here. It will be something like the same as the drop down items. So we'll have drop down items equals the drop down items like that. And yeah, that's what we'll do. Doesn't exist at the moment, but what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this. We're going to go into here. We're just going to go whoop and whoop. Easy done. We'll get rid of the ref. We don't need the ref. We'll probably need to do a few other things, but that's perfectly fine for the moment. We've got the prop type, we've got the drop down. That's what we need. We don't need the label. So we'll get rid of that. And what we'll do straight away, div class equals drop down list. We'll just key that in like that. This might be the case that we just go div class drop down item. Yep, v for equals. You know what? I'm gonna let that complete that. That's fine. And key equals we'll just do index. No, it's not liking that, but not a problem. No, that won't work. I'm just going to delete that. It's not a problem. I'm just going to go drop down item here, like so. We're just going to go in here, we're just going to go v4 equals, and then we'll have item in drop down items, where the key equals item.label. And then we'll just have item.label like that for the moment. Don't know why it's not liking the props. Do we just get rid of it because we're not calling it? Don't know. Yeah. Now I'm going to have a look over here. We haven't actually added it in, have we? No, we haven't. So I'll need the prop down to the interface. We're just going to, yeah, I'm just going to copy that. We're just going to go over here. We're just going to const menu items. Actually, these will be refs because they can change. Import ref from view. Define refs. Const. This will be the menu. Drop down. Yep, it'll be like that. Give me a couple of seconds, sorry. Alright, input ref, import use ref template my input. Okay, import ref. Alright, cool. So I just haven't done this one before. So I'm just going to delete that. We're just going to go const. We're going to go drop down items equals ref. Then we're going to go drop down items interface. We're going to do all of that. All right, cool. That's how we do it. Then in here, we're just going to do that. We're going to have a simple label. We're going to say new folder. And we're going to say the trigger is going to be new folder. Done. We'll just go to the end of that. We're just going to copy this and paste it a couple of times. Now the label is upload document or new link. That will be just new link. And then in here, what we've got is, so we've got folder, we've got link, and then that will be upload document. And that will be upload document. Easy done. So, now in reality, what we could potentially do is have it so the drop-down menu just has a slot in it. We just pass through these buttons like there's no tomorrow. However, there is the possibility of us losing that control. So having this as data is quite good, because all of a sudden we can just pass some data and JSON data and it will just render how it's meant to. Now it's throwing up an issue. Label trigger string is missing the following properties. ARIA label and icon. Okay. Create a new folder. I'm just gonna put null there for the moment. It's gonna kick up some dust. Import folder. New folder. What's the matter, socks? Oh, really? Oh, socks. It's okay. Just don't sit on my mouse. Alright, I think that will do for the moment. So we've got the icon. ARIA label, create a new hyperlink icon. We'll just quickly go up here. We're just going to go and state hyperlink or link. Oh, we've got a link too. All right. And whilst we're here, we're going to go upload. We're going to do that icon. We can play around with these, not a problem. So we'll just go link to here. And we're going to go ARIA label. And then icon. This will be upload cloud icon. Realizing that that's screwed up like that. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, I got rid of the label here. What went wrong there? We've got the icon, and then upload a document. Really, socks? Oh, sweetie. Oh, you can't say that to chat. You have to be nice. Otherwise, they won't give you treats. All right, let's feed this information downstream. So we've got the drop down list here. We're just going to actually do, not like that, we're going to do it like that. We're going to have the drop our menu. What did I name them? We did these just a second ago. Oh, we just put down drop down. Oh, we put everything in the drop down items. All right, not a problem. I'm just going to refactor everything. So the drop down list is not what we want. All right, cool. And hold on, I was doing the wrong thing in here. What we want is we want the drop down in here, and then we want we want the drop down items equal to drop down items. I don't know why the autocomplete decided to put that in twice, and twice in that was absolutely incorrect. Drop down items. Oh my god. There we go. Cool. We do need to import this, otherwise it's just not going to do anything. We just imported it easy. That's perfectly fine. We do need a label, and this is going to be called create. Now I can pass down an icon onto here, but I'm going to go no. We're going to go refresh. Ooh. All right, drop down. This is the drop down. Yeah, we've got drop down item. And then we import that. And we go up and delete that, and we're all happy. There we go. We go down here. We've got the create. All right, sweet. So we're going to fix up that button and make it look stylish and so forth like that. That's not going to be hard. We'll also give it some space and padding. We'll also put the search over there too. I'll call it filter, not search, because it isn't searching anything deeper than that. Okay, so we're gonna have props, we're gonna drop down clicks. All right, cool. I'm just going from the top at the moment. We've got our create. Yeah, I could potentially put in an icon in here. I think that might be an idea. So I'm going to put arrow down. We'll tweak it in a second. Don't worry too much about that whatsoever. We'll be tweaking a lot of this. Now, another thing which I do want to do is I want to go into the button component. We've got all of our sort of buttons that we did before. Yeah, we're just going to copy and paste all of that. We don't need to worry about loading. Yeah, a lot of this, in fact, pretty much the same. All right, we're gonna go over into here. We're just got the drop down. We're just gonna go like this. We're just gonna paste it in like that. We're gonna fix up that. So that should have some stuff in here now. Now, I'm not too worried about the border stuff. We're not too worried about the color. We're not too worried about the padding. Let's get rid of the padding. We do have compact, which is good. We do have tiny, which is good. It's really getting hot now. Alright, so the idea here is we don't have anything on these by default. What we're going to do is we're going to have, I think, info in here. So I'm just going to do this. Let's hope we don't have it like do that. And then what we want to do, class equals info. We have a look at this. This should, let's change all of that. Oh, damn it. I know why. Okay, so it's set there, but we actually want the button to have all of this. I'm just going to get rid of tiny and compact for the moment. So we need to kind of do this. All right, so that's looking a bit better. I don't like that at all. Yeah, I don't like that at all. All right, no problem, no problem. We'll fix it up. We're going to do this with the button. I am going to have a look at the button component. We're going to scroll up. I'm just going to copy these. Oh, piss. Hey Project Black, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Welcome back. Alright, so that's looking a lot bigger. We're not wanting it that big, so we're definitely bringing in the padding. Oh, we're getting rid of the padding. We're also going to make that little icon a lot smaller. So that's just us going down here, going SV. Actually, that's not at that level, it's at this level. SVG, width is, let's say, 1 rem, height is 1 rem. Maybe not, all right. Oh, that's part of the button, yeah, no, sorry, that is part of the button, so that does go in here like this. There we go. That sort of implies that that can be clicked to drop down. We are also going to shrink the text in there. We're going to have font size down to 1 rem. So it's a little bit smaller. And Dakota Guy, hi, how are you? If asked that your stream is good or not, I said very good one. Thank you very much. You're good as well, that's good to hear. Back at 2026, been following the journey, nice, yeah. Yeah, we're just redesigning this at the moment. I'm not liking this design. I'm going to be tweaking the hell out of it. Yeah, I've just got to figure out what I want these drop-down menus to look like. So if we were to go to the Bootstrap equivalent, like something like that, but I just don't like them. They're useful. Here's a, oh, all right, hang on. Give me 2 secs. Let's go to media, let's go to logos, kind of like, so yeah, I've just got to figure it out. I think looks too much like a button. Which it is. No, it is. Did it make two components, like one for the desktop and one for the mobile? No. So the idea being is with the CSS and stuff like that, I'll have it that at certain sizes it does certain things. So a good example is the properties themselves. The CSS does this on mobile. However, if we move to a tablet mode, I've set it so the CSS just says do that sort of layout. And if I move to, let's say, desktop layout, it goes back into this. And it's just the one component now, which is a lot better. Yeah, a lot better. No trickery or anything like that. It's all pure CSS. And because I've used the grid, it just gives me that more flexibility, so I can state that which one of these components goes where on the grid, depending if it's in mobile or desktop mode. Yeah, I really do not like this drop down at all. All right, what I'm going to do, let's strip the background color off it. Let's go background color. No, none won't work. Background border. It's going to go solid 1 pixel, black. Like so. Oh no, that won't work. Invalid property name. That's fine. I'm gonna go, oh, background border. Sorry, it's meant to be just border. So we're just gonna go black, solid, 1 pixel. I'm just also wondering, what if I did dashed? Yeah. So once again, grids help me lay out these items. So yeah, a lot easier to do. And I forgot how I got these to stack up like this on the right hand side. I think that was Flexbox in there, or I've done something tricky to get that to work like that. I mean, I do like the dashed stuff. I think I prefer the outline for the menu, because I don't want people thinking it's a button. And yeah, right. So come on, you're meant to slide your booty, not fall backwards. There you go. Oh yes, slide your booty. All right, there it goes, sucks. You're now on stream. All right, I'm just going to refresh this page. What we're going to do is we're going to focus on this, and what I want to do. So I want to remove everything from there. Yeah, background color null doesn't work. Inherit won't work because it inherits from the button itself. No, she does love the camera. If I tap it, she'll look at it for a while. She's under the impression that I give her treats if she stares at the camera long enough. Alright, if I go background color white. Have I done the right thing? I'm just going to refresh. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Alright, let's just get rid of all of this for the moment. Okay. And what I want to do, oh, we've hit an ad break. Sorry, we've got an ads on Twitch. For those on YouTube, wanting to know why I do this, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch. That's just to stop the pre-rolled ads. We just stop streaming for a little bit and we tend to do this, answer questions, pat socks, get our souls judged by Socks' judging spirit. Yeah. At the moment, she's wanting treats. So yeah, we've got about 40 seconds left of the ads. I'm going to quickly grab myself some water, just because it is nearly 33 degrees Celsius in here. For those wanting Fahrenheit, that's 91.2. So it's fairly hot. So I'll be right back. I won't be long. Alright, I am back. And our ads are over. Alright, let's get back into it. I don't know where to put the water bottle. Yeah. She does meow. She does meow a lot. Trust me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and focus on the button at the moment, because that's the thing that I am hating the most. So I'm going to go outline none. Actually, I am going to look at MDN button. So we've got the button. Do they have the attributes autofocused? Command, show modal, close, request close, the editor, shop pop over. I'm just wanting name, type. Yeah, we do have type. I should also put orientation is true on that one. The label will work there. It's accessibility, icon buttons, accessible names, accessibility tree. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So that's why you should have. If you want to, all right. No. Pressed is what we want. Oops, sorry, Socks. You were on my headphones. And I do use them. Click and focus, no. Creating a basic button, yes. I actually just want the CSS attributes that I can use. Well, it was. Boo. Alright. We're just gonna do this. Alright, outline doesn't work. Border, none. Background, I'm gonna put none. Let's have a look. So we've got that. Alright, sweet. Now we've got an empty frame. Let's start putting stuff in. So the border, sorry Socks, I need my hand. Thank you very much. Let's do solid on pixel. Easy done. Now, it looks like we've got something here, like a shadow. Alright, Socks has disappeared, so you get me for the moment. She's hinting that she wants treats. So, yeah. Now the other thing is this text is not sitting in the middle of the button, which is going to be very, very annoying. I also probably want to do font size is going to be 1 rem. Yeah, alright, cool. So, to do background, font size is going to be 1 rem. Font line height is going to be, I'm going to go 1.25 rem, just to give it that little bit more. Now, its height in itself, because it's an SVG. If we go SVG and we go width 1 rem, height 1 rem, that's looking a little bit better, but we kind of want these to line up a little bit. And what's really annoying is that's not sitting exactly where we want it. This button transform, and we want to translate in the Y direction. I'm going to go -1 pixel. We want it as 2 pixels. All right. So that's looking a little bit better. But I think it has a shadow. Because the left and the bottom border seem thicker, which is annoying me a lot. Oh, the font size doesn't work. Probably need a little bit of padding too. All right. Not a problem. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to think how I would tackle this. Can't do half pixels because that doesn't make any sense. The problem is I'm not liking this button. I could do what I did over here, which I wouldn't mind. I mean, it wouldn't take too long, but then again, if the user is expecting for that user section, the customer user to click on it, something popping up, they're expecting that to actually happen. Whereas if they click on this create and a drop down happens, they're not expecting that if I've designed it like those other ones. So I'm being a little bit cautious about that. So I'm trying to keep a visual language, in which case if you see something that looks similar to something else, they should behave in the same sort of manner. All right. Tell you what, let's go Tailwind drop down menu. Let's actually have a look at what other people have been doing. Let's look at Flowbyte, let's look at Tailwind CSS. I'm just going to do this so you guys can see what's actually happening. So they've got something like this. So they've got the icon a little bit different. They've got a hover effect. It's a bit more padding. Okay, I can work with that. I can work with that. That's all right. Cool. Their border is also different, and there is a bit of color in there. So what I could do, I can go back here and yeah, let's go back into here. Let's actually start changing some of this. So let's remove that. Let's go border solid. Easy done. Border width is going to be var border width size. All right, border radius is going to be the border radius stuff. Border color is going to be the color primary doesn't exist. It's border color. Thank you very much. Or maybe not. It's muted. All right, or just border. Where was that? I was over here. Border width. We're just going to go 1 pixel, like that. We're just definitely going to keep that 1 pixel in there. Now if we go back to the tailwind, we've got a bit more padding at the top and bottom. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to add in some height. I'm going to add in 3 rem. And then we're going to do some padding. We're going to do 0, and then we're going to go 1 rem on either side. So that's looking pretty big. That's looking bigger than that. And the Coppinger, hey, how are you going? Thank you very much for the sub. So yeah. Oh, and I dropped my pen. How have you been? Well, I saw you today. How's everything going though? Are you getting a heat wave over there? Because it is hot in Australia at the moment. We didn't have a spring, so we never got warmed up to it, let's just say. Pretty mild? Okay, fair enough. Just call Betty on video. I was told it was somewhere, fair enough. Just as head turned it to his flatmates. Oh no. You could say they got something for free. It do. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's been a while since I've been in that situation. When I was working at the university, for some strange reason, I just went through a massive stage in my life where my pants would just rip. And we're not talking little tiny rips, like massive, massive rips. So, there we were. There was the director, and she's come up and be like, all right, cool, can you take a photo? I'm like, yeah, sure, I can take a photo, get everyone in. I went down, I bent down like this and ripped my pants right in front of the director and everyone there. The director pointed out that luckily there was no one in the meeting rooms behind me. So yeah, give the people what they want, yeah. But yeah, I would rip my shorts in the gym constantly. So it's just... There was also one other time where I think I was just doing something casual, and I think something caught onto my pants and it just ripped them, and I was just like, oh my god. Okay. Well, here is Socks. She is meowing. She wants treats. All right, I'll give you treats. Yes, yes, come on. All right. Here we go. Well, in your bed. In your bed. All right, Socks, you know what to do. In your bed. Come on, Socks, in your bed. There we go. Get back in your bed. In your bed. Good girl. You know exactly what's happening. Alright. And I have Max. There we go. Good girl. She's like, I ate all my treats. Where are they? Oh, it is boiling in here. Alright, in your bed. But yeah, Copper Chair, I am finally redesigning NearBeach. I am, as you can tell, I can't really design. So I'm very happy for some tips and so forth like that. But we actually do have this mock-up up. It doesn't work. It's just there for, hey, this is what we kind of want it to look like. So if you're interested, yeah, have a gander. And on YouTube, there we go. So hopefully what I've done tonight will be up there later tonight. Yeah, but going from what are we on? We're doing project documentation. So going from something like looking like this into looking a lot nicer. Just figuring out how we want it to look. Yeah, just playing around with it. All right, so we've got the create. I'm liking that a little bit better now. I do not know why. Hang on. I can answer. I can do this. Buttons have extra padding on borders. CSS. Right, cool. How's that? Yeah, that camera angle was okay. It's like removal padding. I thought that was a spider then. I was about to leap that way. Some of Socks' fur just crawled up the wall. Alright, let's have a look. No, that didn't work at all. I'll just refresh. Yeah, no. Alright. Border equals 0, padding equals 0. Let's do padding. I don't think it's padding. Yeah, it's definitely not padding. And if, yeah, of course it's going to be 0, it's going to get rid of it. Alright. Get the flame. Yeah, I know, it was a pretty, very big clump of Socks hair. So this was just floating up there, the wall, and I was like, ah! It's that time of year. Well, actually, this time of year should have happened a couple of months ago. Socks should have lost her winter coat for the moment, but we've been in winter for such a long time. We've only just hit summer. It's been ridiculous, the weather here. Been cold and miserable. We didn't have a spring at all. It's been cold and miserable, and then all of a sudden hot. Alright, I do know there is something. Is it it just that? Alright, I'm just going to does that. I'm just going to do this. I think it's still there. It's not a box shadow. It shouldn't be any of those. I'm not gonna worry about it too much because I can just do a lot more Googling later. I'm getting there with liking how this looks now. And what we want to do is we want to activate this click where this will then show. So an easy way to do that is, so we've got the props, we've got the drop down items. We've got the drop-down items in here. What we'll do is we'll have a display. No, not that. A vShow. When the menu's open. And when we click on that, drop-down menu item click. Now we'll need, that won't be needed here, but it will be needed in the lower component with the drop down items. So I'm just going to put that in there very, very quickly. We're just going to do that, define function, methods. We'll come back to that in a second. So what we've got is, we've got this, we've then got that to drop down, there we go. Oh. There we go. But sometimes it flickers in and out if there is a single button click. I don't know what happened then and why it's doing that. But that's fine. So the next thing I've got to do is with the drop down items, let's actually fix all of this up. So what we'll need down here is we'll need to import emits. Actually, no, we don't import emits. That's just down here. We need to define emits. So that's going to be down here. Define emits. Const emits equals define emits drop down item clicked. So that will then state that we're going to emit this upstream. And then now that I think about it, this emit needs to belong in here too. Oh yeah, no, I kept it in here. Drop down item clicked. Yeah, I pass it, and then I pass it all up. And then what I have down here is function drop down item clicked, and then this will do emits. This will be drop down item clicked, and then what will be going through is the trigger. Yep, like that. Which we're happy with. And then this would be V on drop down item clicked. Equals drop down item clicked. So it just passes it up. And hello, Mohammed. How are you going? Hopefully you're going well. Welcome. Oops, I got the wrong thing on there. That's meant to be drop down item clicked. Easy done. So that hits that. That then goes upstream and everyone's sort of happy. But also at the same time, emit upstream, close the menu automatically. So we've got to go menu, open, value equals false. All right. Oh, that's good to hear. Welcome, welcome. We are just working on NearBeach. All right, this trigger is going to be a string, which we're happy with. And then we've got to go downstream too. We've got to actually specify. What the fuck happened there? We've got to specify down here that it is a string. Emits drop-down item clicked. Oh yeah, I've got to do all of that. And that hits that and it goes up and everyone's happy and I'm like, yay. Alright, so we've got the div class. We just need the v on in here. So we need a v on click, and that's going to hit the drop down menu item clicked. We need to put into here the item dot trigger, so it passes that value through. And then we're all happy with that. And then I'm just gonna make this look nice. Yeah, we've just logged out here. I'm just gonna log back in very, very quickly. The reason being is I kind of want to see this reference again. I'm just gonna click on hero images. We've got the create. So we've got icon and then the label, which I think is good. The drop down here, we don't have anything in there with these particular ones. I'm just going to do this so you guys can see. They don't have any icons in. Oh, wait, here we go. Here's one. We've got icons in here like this. Okay, I like that. It's got that type of stuff. That's just got check boxes. All right, cool. So going back here, what we want to do is we're going to. Oh. I know this is possible. I know I've done it somewhere else, and I think I've done it in the navigation bar. So I'm gonna go nav. We've got the nav menu item, and if we have a look in the nav menu item, we've got this. That's the slot setting. Just having a look here. Notice how I've got the icon being the square Kanban and all that kind of stuff. And when I go down here, component, that's what I want. All right. Which one? Because NearBeach actually has technically 2 at the moment. There's no issues in here because we're using NewTrack for all the bugs and stuff like that. And then there is the Docker one. I don't think there's any issues in here either because yeah, once again we're using NewTrack. You want to contribute and learn some stuff out of it. Oops, we've just hit ads on Twitch, but don't worry, I'm still here because you're on YouTube. My recommendation is just download it and play with it first, see what needs improvement. As you can tell, at the moment I'm going through a massive sort of refactor to improve everything. I need more feedback. I need to know what works, what doesn't work, so that way I can sort of plan it whilst I'm refactoring everything. So yeah, feel free to download it, use it. You can always run it locally, and if you've got a debugger, you can always see what's going on and how it's actually working. And then yeah, the idea with this refactor also is to make it a lot easier to read. There's some stuff, so this is a bit of history, technical debt sort of stuff. 5 years ago, I deleted 95% of the code where I should have deleted 100% of it. The database didn't get deleted. That was a big mistake because I kept some sort of massive technical debt, let's just say that. Technical debt where it was stuff, I was like, cool, I'm gonna have different field names and stuff like that. It wasn't generic enough. So I'm getting rid of all of that, making that generic, which has a follow-through effect of making the code a lot easier. So you'll notice a lot of the code sort of handles that, that code base not being generic enough. And welcome back, everyone. So yeah, I just need component. I knew I used it somewhere. What we need to do is we just paste in component into here. We then go item dot. Yeah, it's just icon.item. Item.icon. Sorry, I can't spell or speak. So we've got those two here at the moment. And what we want to do, so we've got styles. I just want to see how this looks. So that's okay. That's looking okay. Still got to style it. Let's do that right now. Let's go drop down items. We then got dot drop down item, and then we've got a SVG, which we want the width to be 1R. We actually want these to be a little bit smaller, I think, like so. So it's like that, and I'm going to change the text to now another thing I want to do is I want to do position absolute, and you'll notice now it's not interacting with the project documentation and stuff like that, which also means we're going to do background color like that. Actually, I don't think I have a variable called that. We're going to double check our globals. So I'm going to go over into my styles, open up my variables, and go general variables. I'm going to put this over here. We're going to have a double check with this. This is the card component. Background color, background light. Okay. So we're going to do that. So now you can see it's doing that. Now, I'm going to add in a bit of a border. So yeah, border solid, border width is going to be border width, I think. Give me 2 seconds. I am just going to open up the general variables. Yeah, I've got a border width. Yep, all right, cool. That should do something like that. And then we've got to do border radius. Border color. I'm going to do border muted. So it sort of matches that button up there, and I might Add some transitions. Yep, definitely. All right, cool. Yeah, I can easily do that. In fact, let's add the transitions in right now, because it's fairly easy to do. I'll just go into the documentation. So we've got the PDF show. So yeah, we've got to hide it through a transition. All right, not a problem. So that actually happens at the high level. So what we've got to do is transition up here. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of that. We're just going to format that to make it look nice. We're going to get rid of that. Easy done. And then it's just this in here. We're probably going to keep the same thing like this. So it'll come in like that, which is what we want. Now, all right, I'm just going to put these down here for the moment. There we go. That's some very basic transitions. Now another thing is I could line this up to match perfectly, but in the CSS transition, I'm just doing that because I do use this transition elsewhere, and I'm trying to be consistent with how I do it everywhere. So the transitions on here, that's in also the transition class. If we actually have a look at how this handles those transitions, I'm just going to move this to the left. So there's the button itself. There's the class itself underneath. And I think there's... maybe not. Maybe not at that level. Alright. Is it... done at this level? Oh, I don't know where that's doing that transition then. That's something I'm going to have to find out, because that is just magic for me. And then I don't need to also worry about anything else. And I am going to pronounce your name terribly wrong. Nishaguja. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're going well. So yeah, hey. Right, getting back into here. I'm just going to bump this off to the right. We're going to start adding in padding for all of these items in here. So if I go down to the drop-down items themselves, the drop-down items, we've then got the drop-down item. So we'll have padding, we'll have the top at 0.25 REM and 0.5 REM for either side. That will give us a lot nicer, yeah, it's a lot nicer spaced. Okay, I like that. I like that size. And then what I want to do is I want to do a hover effect. So that will be on the drop-down item and hover, background color, going to be bar, background, I'm just going to go dark. And cheers, yeah, I tried to be. Remember, still learning a lot of stuff, still playing around with stuff. I can't design at all. That's pretty obvious, in fact. So yeah, but willing to learn. Alright, that one does not have a hover effect on it at the moment. So I'm just going to see how I've done that before. It's the end hover. Yeah, it is the end hover. Okay. Yeah, and hover. So that's for the single item itself. What we can actually do is we can go hopping. Alright, just to double check to make sure it is working. We're also going to go over here and refresh this, just in case it's got something stuck in there. And no. Drop down item. Drop down item. It's saying it should. Weird. Really weird. Alright. I'm just gonna refresh. Cause, yeah. It's happening when I click on them. But yeah, not when I'm... Alright, what I'm going to do is do up here and hover, background color, hopping. Alright, just our default, let's show something terrible. We're going to go down, we're just going to click on this, nothing. But except when we click on it, hang on a minute. I'm going to get rid of the, that. No, even then, alright, that. Weird. Oh, I should also do Z indexed. This will be a 10. So this will definitely appear above everything else. Just not wanting to do the hover. Alright. Not a problem. What I'm going to do, I'm going to simplify things. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go drop down item hover, background color, hot pink. Alright, so we're separating that out of the list. We're making the CSS a little bit less complicated. I'm going to hit refresh. We're going to click on this, and then still nothing. And I am on the drop down items section of the thing. If I go drop down items, nothing. But if I click on it, blah, hot pink. Weird. Really, really weird. Alright, I'm just gonna go plus. I'm gonna go, I do have info still on there, which we shouldn't. I am going to, I'm just gonna create a new item. We're gonna, yep, we're gonna just gonna move that off to the left. What we're doing, we've got this drop down items down here. Usually that works. I hit the wrong key, didn't I? Okay, but I can't find anything. And Pollock, how are you going? The refactoring is coming along well. We have a mock-up up at the moment. You should give links separately, ID, to modal buttons. When you're saying down here, so this will be the list one, the div, and then they should be all different items. Oh, and sorry, Pollock, I should have finished what I was saying. Yeah, this is pretty much the last page of the mock-up for the moment. The idea being is once this is done, if people like this, it'll fit into tasks, requirements, requirement items very, very quickly. And then a lot of what we've done here can be chopped up into requests for changes and so forth like that. In which case, once everyone's happy with this design, we could move and start actually doing all the backend API calls and getting that all sort of set up. So yeah, hoping to have more done this week. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 components to finish. Hopefully that won't take me too long. I'll probably redo this little section here. Yeah. Okay, so I set the drop down items, hover. Yeah, that's fine. That just, it means if I hover over that whole thing, hang on a minute. All right, the issue was with Firefox. The reason being is I noticed it stopped working when I accidentally moved my mouse over onto the user and customer, knowing that they've got the same sort of feature. Annoying. Very, very annoying. Alright, background color is going to be bar. Background, instead of light, we're going to go dark. Idea being here, done like that. So people know exactly what they're on, and then they can click on it and it will trigger that sort of case. Are you using your own rep to receive feedback from users? So yeah, if people have feedback and so forth like that, I will be recording it in NearBeach. So yeah, we've got a couple of Kanban boards in there already. If I just get prod.nearbeach, Kanban, I forgot what the numbers were, so give me 2 seconds. I am just going to component reconstruction. All right, I'll just bring this down here. So at the moment, we've just got all the component reconstruction, but we'll be putting in feedback in here also at the same time, under the appropriate sort of lane. So, for example, we've got forms, and this is where I'm doing all the toggle stuff. The toggle stuff, I've actually think I've started it. Haven't started any of the multi-select or anything like that, but that will happen next. Yeah. All right, so we've got that button. I'm liking that now. Simple, that's as best as I can design it. So now that we've got that in there, and I'm happy with it, it should be all going through with the clicking. What I want to do, I want to get rid of that class. We no longer need that class. We'll maybe in the future add it in. So we've got the drop down, we've got the card header. This is where I'm going to go div class equals document. I'm going to say it's document search, even though we're putting in the drop down in there, which doesn't make much sense. I know. Search and create. And what we want to do, what's the matter, Socks? Sorry, Socks is just meowing at me. Come on, sweetie. Yeah. Are you hot? There you go, say hi to everyone. In your bed. You're like, no, it's too fucking hot. Talking about the temperature, give me 2 seconds. Let's see what the weather is like outside. Because it was, all right, 26 degrees. It is 33 in this room at the moment. For those wondering, that's about 78. That's a lot better than it was before. It was up to 37 degrees or 99 before. So what I'm going to do very, very quickly is I'm going to open up my window and I'm going to hope for a breeze. All right. Whew. I'm going to do as much as I can tonight before I just absolutely collapse from heat stroke. Now, the next thing we want to do is we're going to put in search input into here. I've forgotten what parameters it wants, so I'm just going to go to that declaration and just be like, all right, cool. All right. We are probably going to make this very, very generic, this one. At the moment, this is what this will look like. As you can see, it's pretty big. I mean, we don't need that really. All we really need here is an input type equals text, aria label equals filter, documents placeholder equals filter documents, like so. And if we have a look over here, we've got this down here. We're going to definitely make this a lot smaller and a lot nicer. Living in two worlds, it's snowy nightmare here. Yep, fair enough. Well, I won't be complaining too much of the heat because only a couple of weeks ago it was cold and it felt like winter still. It's just, we never got spring in Melbourne. We just never got it. which has annoyed me beyond anything. Absolutely annoyed the bejeevers out of me. So I'm kind of happy that it's warm. A lot of my plants, because they didn't have that sort of spring weather, have absolutely struggled, and I've lost a lot of plants this year because the seedlings just never grew. They never grew whatsoever. They grew about 1 inch to 2 inch, or about 5 centimeters maximum if I was lucky. And it was just never warm enough for them to actually grow any further. And then the heat came and it was like, oh, we're too young for this. And they died. Alright. So, I come in, search, and create. That should be like that. So what I want to do is I want display to be grid. Alright, grid template columns. And this is where I am going to have a look at this, and I'm going to be like, alright, cool. So this particular button itself, oh no, I don't want to use grid in this sort of case. No, I want to use Flexbox. Alright, cool. So I've changed my mind because I was going to use grid and set the specific width and stuff like that, but if I'm going to be translating NearBeach and so forth like that, I will need to be as flexible as possible. So yeah. Yeah, I was a bit sad too. However, the good news is I should have tomatoes soon. I should be having tomatoes now, but because it's been really, really cold, only now that the tomato bushes have grown. So yeah. After stream, I'm going to have to go out there and water the hell out of my plants. Yeah, had to rescue some at lunchtime. Had to go out there and you don't water the plants on the leaves or anything like that. You go directly into the roots system. Just for the worst ones. So flex direction is going to be a row, so we've got it like this. And then what I want to do is I want to do input. Actually, I don't need to. This is document search and create. Yeah, it's going to be like that. All right, cool. We've got the drop down items, but we've got the input. Don't want the input to be 100% like that because it'll squish everything in like that. So yeah, we don't want it like that, but we kind of want it to fill out as much as possible, which kind of means that we might need that input in a div, which is fine. Also might mean that we need the button in a div too. Which once again, that's fine. Already is in a div. So we've got the div drop down. So we're gonna go search in here. That. I'm going to close this, and then what we want to do is I don't know yet. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on this. I'm just going to now do width 100%. That's not taking up all of that search. So if we do search width, thinking. I might be wrong. Give me a couple of seconds. Group template columns. What we want is one FR and then min max 0 to, let's say 3 FR. And then what I've got to do is we're going to name this one drop down, and this one filter. I'm going to change this to not, it's going to be create and filter, just because. Create and filter. I'm going to change this to filter. All right, cool. We've got the drop-down menu, which we're happy with. So we're going to go dot drop down menu, which would be, I'm going to get rid of that. So if we hover over this will be drop down, which is called drop down. And then that would be part of the grid column, and go drop down, like so. Then we've got the filter, and that will be the grid column filter. Like so, now this, that drop down is taking up that whole entire space. I'm just going to hit refresh, just in case I've got something. There we go. Yeah, I probably had something in there. And what I want to do is I actually want to min-max that one. I'm just going to go 200 pixels. I just want to see what's going to happen. See there, that should be 200 pixels. Yeah, and that should be width 100%. Like that, all right. And then we've got the filter, and then we've got the input width 100%. So it'll be kind of like that. Now the reason why it doesn't work is because of the padding, so we're going to actually take into consideration the padding. That's why it's coming out of where we want it to go. What I want is this side to sort of match up with how wide that item is. What if I do 0.5, 0.2? No. All right, this is just an experiment. It's fine. We can get rid of this right now. Oops, didn't want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of that. We want display flex. We want flex direction is going to be a row, so they'll both sit in a row right now, like that. As you can tell, that filter is not taking up the full width. So what we want to do, going to do max width on that one. Yeah, it's still not don't know why max width. I don't know why I thought that would work. All right, this is where I'm gonna go to CSS, flex, div to extend width. I mean, is that it? Just flex? I'm gonna hit refresh. Just gonna get rid of all of that. We're just gonna click on this. We're gonna click on the filter. That was it. All right, I'm just checking one other thing. That's it. Yeah. All right. Awesome. So what I want is I want flex. I'm just going to say 1. All right. So that fills out everything that we need at the moment. Now this one down here, we'll need to do a calc. So calc, it'll be 100% minus 2 REM because I think it'll be 1 REM. Because we've got to deal with the padding and the margin and so forth like that. And there we go. That is kind of what we want. Now I'm going to put a little bit of margin on this button. However, I could put it also. I could put it on the input. Could do something like that. But then again, once again, that moves things out just a little. So we're gonna do some magic to make it certainly fit. So that's looking a lot better. Now with the input, we're gonna have to do the def. We're going to do a height of 2 REM to match the button up here. But as you see, when we do the 2 REM, it doesn't quite work. The reason being is we've got to also deal with the font size. That's going to be 1 REM. We'll have the padding being down to 0.25 REM. Maybe even less, maybe 0. As you see, it's not quite the same as the button. There is still a little bit more that we need to take off. We probably have line height. We've also got borders and stuff like that too, in which case we could make the button a little bit bigger to match this. But yeah, we've definitely got if I go margin 0, even then, it's not quite there. And we do kind of want them to be almost the same size. Alright, how is it outside? Okay. go. That looks a lot better. So yeah, let's work with that. Let's ignore that for the moment. Let's ignore most of that for the moment. What we're doing is we're focusing on the size. So we're going to go height 1.75 rem. Cool, that should match the button. We'll need font size being 0.75 rem. We'll need line height being 1 rem. We're going to do some padding. So the padding for the top and left and right is going to be like that. So we should have something like that. That way when people start keying stuff in, it looks nice. We're all happy with that. The border is going to be solid. Border width is going to be the bar. Border width. All right, cool. Border color is going to be the border color. Border radius is going to be the border radius. So the border color, that's actually going to be border. So we're kind of copying that from over there. Now, it's not lining up, which is annoying the hell out of me, so I'm just going to hit refresh just in case. All right. I'm going to go 1 rem. Yeah, that's fine. Margin. Now it's not wanting to line up, and I don't know what I did before. Border width, border color. Oh, this is annoying. I'm going to put padding 0.125 rem. No. Oh. It's going to be that. That's it. All right. It's annoying as hell. So I want the padding. It's going to be 0.1 rem. So if we go down here, all right, sweet. So the input now with the width, that's going to be calculated. That's going to be 100% minus. We've got to add the padding in together, so that's 1 rem. I've marked up there, 1 rem. So you've got something like that now. Awesome. Now I just need a bit of margin on the left, so we're going to go top, right, bottom, left is going to be 1 rem. I think we need to move that up to a 2. So we've got something like that. That's looking really, really nice. Now we just got to space it out from this up here. So that will be part of the document component. So we've got the document create and filter. What we want to actually have is we're going to have a margin on the top. And we're going to have 2 rem to see how big that area goes. So we're giving some space to that. So the user will be able to do stuff like this now. Awesome. Okay, cool. Once again, I'm not going to put in a lot of the functionality into here at the moment. We just want it to look how we want it to look. We should have a default when there's no documentation in there. We'll do that right now. So what we can do, we can get rid of the search input for starters, is we're going to create another ref. Const documents equals ref. We're we're not going to do much with the ref at the moment. We can just go ref document string, have that like that. I'll be happy with that. So we'll just have document hello world document. So do something like that. Actually, no, I won't do much with that. At the moment, we'll just do that. Then what I want to do is down here. So we've got the card component. We're all happy with that. Now, there's a reason why I'm not... And hey, Dolgican, how are you going? There's a reason why I'm not putting that in its own component just at the moment. We're going to simplify this. Now, in the future, I do know when we're dealing with the documents, we want to actually have a way of manipulating the data really, really easily. Instead of having to have a child component send information up being like, hey, we manipulated this and so forth like that, I'll figure something out. So I'm keeping it in one component at the moment. This will be document list down here. Now that I say that, I'm also at the same time being like, nah, I want to sort of separate it out. I don't want to clump everything into one component. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to have create and filter, create and filter. We're also going to have document list in here, and we're going to have document list. All right, cool. Now I'll come back to document list with the create and filter. That's going to be really, really easy. I know you guys can't see the right side of the screen. All I'm doing is I'm just cutting this out and putting it over there. Easy done. And then the next thing I'm doing is I'm cutting all of this out because it's no longer needed in here, and I'm just putting it over there. Give me a couple more seconds. I just will format that. I'll format that. Get rid of that, and then we'll go over here and we'll go document. No, this is going to be the create and filter. Create and filter. We'll leave it like that at the moment. There's no, we've got drop down items. I've just got to cut that out from there. I've got to go into here and just paste them in like that. I've also got to import the ref from Vue. Easy done. I also got to cut those out. Cut that out. That one's going to stay. Actually, no, that one's going to go. Easy done. So I've just simplified this particular component. I've made it smaller. The idea being is this is just a sort of, all right, these are the components on here. Later on, we'll figure out how they're going to interact with each other. So that way we don't have to worry about sending data up and down parent and child components, which is just tedious and horrible. The other thing which we could potentially do is use a Vue store to store the data and just have everything access that. That could be done fairly easily. Anyway, in here, so all the stuff that I copied and pasted into here, this is just going to be the same sort of stuff with the drop down. That doesn't need to be there anymore. So we're all happy with all of that. That should give us, ooh, hopefully not a problem. That should give us this, exactly the same as before. We've just neatened up that component and shoved all of that into here. Smaller components, just easier to sort of control, I guess. It's just, yeah, you got to deal with how you're going to send data to and from other components. We'll figure that out when we get there. All right, document view list. We're going to implement this right now. So let's go to the second line. We're going to import the ref. Done. We're going to define our refs down here. We're just going to go cost document list equals ref. We're actually going to, at the moment, actually, you know what? I'm going to create this properly. I'm going to do this properly. We're going to go to the interfaces. We're going to create a file, and it's going to be called document item interface.ts. And we're going to export interface, document interface. We're going to have an ID as a number. Thank you very much. We're going to have a file name as a string. We're going to not include a description. We are going to include the, I don't know if we want to include the URL. It will actually be, sorry, the key is going to be a GUID. So yeah, it's good. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just double checking this. Type script GUID type. Just double checking what's the best processes. Users represented strings and is just as a string. All right. Cool. I just wanted to double check that. So the document key itself, that's the terminology we use in the back end. That's just going to be a GUID, and yeah, the type, that's going to be an enum, but for the moment, let's just keep it like that. Once again, this is just the mock-up. We'll actually be doing this properly when we actually do the conversions and stuff like that. But the conversions will be pretty quickly and easy. So we've got the type. I think that's all I need for the moment. So if we go back into the document list, we go document item interface, we import that in, we say, hey, that's actually going to be an array, we do something like that. That's not going to be a problem, that's going to work perfectly fine. Now in the template itself, we're going to have a div class equals the document list, like so. We're going to fill this out in a second. Document list, we're going to make sure that the width is 100% of the page. All right, our next thing that we want to do is we could create a document item. But we've also got a folders list too. All right. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Big yawn. I'm just trying to think what I want to actually convey to the user information-wise. Currently, at the moment, if I delete this and I delete this, if there's nothing there, that's it. And the idea here is I kind of want to say, hey, listen, you can actually do something here. We kind of want to, little structure thing like, yo, are you gonna fill me up? So I'm gonna sign back in. I'm going to take some inspiration from Imbraco. So if we actually go into blogs, let's actually create a new folder. Let's call it January 2026. Oh, I've already got one. All right, damn it. Oh my god. Oh, I keep forgetting the U, don't I? It's where you learn my horrible secret. I can't spell February. And it has no items in there. So we kind of want to sort of show the user, hey, there's no items in here. However, if there's a folder in there, we'll show you the folder. If, for example, they go into it, so for example, if I go into February in here, oh, I can't, damn it, I can go into that one, but I just can't, there we go. We'll have no items, but I do still want the icon to stay, hey, you can still go up, which isn't too hard to do. There's a couple of ways we can do that, which won't be hard to actually do. All right, so and another. All right, div class equals empty folder. All right, this is just an empty folder class. And we go v show equals when the document list dot length equals nothing. All right. And we'll have no items in folder. And then div class equals class equals document list. Oh, we can't have document list. All right. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. But not to worry, we'll get there. So we've got something in where we've got this. I'm just going to hit refresh, hope for the best. It's not showing. I probably haven't actually put it in. Yeah, I haven't. That's my bad. So we've got document list in here. We're just going to cut that off there. That should show me potato salad. Now, it didn't show me any potato salad. I'm very disappointed about that because I hadn't imported it. Sorry, I thought the system would. All right, so we've got this now. Now, depending how high I want the icons, and I kind of do want them rather large. Depends how high we're going to key this in and what we're going to do. So my first thought was height. I was going to do 4 REMs. I was then going to state display flex, justify content center, align item center, we want a border, and so forth like that. So we've got that so far. I'm just going to bump this up to about, I'm going to say 7 REM. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that. We're going to go back into our document list. We're just going to go, all right, cool. We're just going to go empty folder. going to key those in like that. We're just going to make sure this works like that. All right, cool. So we've got the empty folder, so no items in folder. I mean, it's pretty plain, but we can work with this now. So one thing I do want to do is I want the font size 1.25 rem, so a little bit bigger. We want the font weight to be lighter, or light, or 100. Or I'm going to click on this to make sure what the hell's going on. Font weight. We don't. What the hell? We should be having something like this, like the subtext. I'm just going to hit refresh. Ah, there we go. All right, cool. So we've got that like that. Now, what I want to do is I want to create a border, but I want dashed. All right. You'll see what's going to happen in a second. And then what I want to do is I want to call border radius. Like so, and then border, I think, yeah, something like that. And then with the empty folder, we actually want a margin on the top. So I'm going to make it padding. 2 rem is too much. 1.5. Getting better. 1.25. I think it's a sweet spot. So now we have no items in the folder. All right. I think that's looking pretty good. I mean, I'll have to see what it's like on mobile. So we'll need some padding at the bottom. There you go. I'm not liking that. Oh, hang on. LED 0, 1 rem, and then 0. Not quite. Done. Alright, so we've got some padding at the bottom. We've got the no items in the folder type of stuff. This is looking really, really good. I might decrease that on mobile phone. So create and filter. So the input will have a margin like that on a bigger screen. So if we go at media, small screen, and then like this, yeah, that's looking a lot better. I do need to tweak a lot of stuff around. So the width will then change. So I'm just going to cut that. I'm going to paste that into there. We're going to go width. It's still going to be the calculator 100% minus, and that was going to be 0.5 rem. That way that, ooh, and we forgot about the margin. So that's going to be like that, and that's going to be perfect. All right, cool. All right. They're still not the same height, those two, and that's gonna drive me nuts. All right. But this still looks good. What we do with those, that's in discussion at the moment. So whether we use a sidebar that pops in and that the user can key them in, or if we continue with the modals. So at the moment, if I were to go into here and go upload document, a modal will appear. And we're just got to discuss whether or not we want that to continue or if we want a sidebar. A good example of a sidebar is, they call it off campus in Bootstrap. Okay, something like that pops up and you fill it out, and this page will be darkened and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, doing something like that. All right. Yeah, those aren't lining up. I'm just gonna. It's gonna drive me nuts. Might be one of those sort of things that I have to figure. I think there's. Definitely doing something wrong there. No problem. I'll finish stream and I'll be like, oh yeah. Always happens. Like you stop your streams, you walk away, and you're just like, did I try max width or max height? I should say. Yeah, because it takes into consideration. And we've got padding. At 0.1 REM. Now I'm doing it. No, all right. I'll come back to the heights and stuff like that at a later time. In the meantime, I'm kind of liking that. Now, another thing I've just noticed is if I click on this and then I click anywhere else, it doesn't disable that. All right. Now, what we could potentially do is with the drop down, we could add in something else in there too. I'm going to do that now because I'm going to forget about it and it's going to annoy me later down the track. So we've got the drop down items themselves. So that's the list. We've got the drop down, and what we could potentially do is add in another div in and drop down so whenever we now that doesn't have anything like that, and that's just anywhere I click, that just disappears. All right. Yeah, it's the same too, and then I have to click on that to move it away. And if I click on the body anywhere, All right. I kind of want to add this. Okay. This other stuff. Yeah, backdrop. That's the word I was trying to find. All right, cool. So it'll be like this. It's going to be very, very simple. It'll have a v show equals menu open. Easy done. In fact, we'll do a vif. Because it doesn't matter if we destroy it and bring it back. So we've got drop down backdrop. So we've got the drop down, we've got the button, and then we're going drop down backdrop. That will be width is going to be 100% view width. Height is going to be 100% view height DVH. And for those wondering what DVH is, dynamic viewports. So if you're on a phone and stuff like that, I'll do that so you guys can actually see this little thing down here. If it actually disappears, it changes the dynamic view height, and it's all a pain. We're gonna do a large view. Yeah, we're gonna do that. That's perfectly fine. So we've got the drop down. We'll have the Z index set to, I'm going to say 10. We're going to have to go into the menu item list and change that into 20. That's perfectly fine. And then what we want to do is we want to have background color. I'm just going to do hot pink for the moment. We're just testing this out. So in here, when we click on create, all right, we need to make a few more. We're going to do fixed. We're going to go top 0, left 0, boom. And it'll only appear in that. However, that being said, with the background, we're going to go. Now there's a specific way we're dealing with backgrounds now. It's the HSL A. I'm gonna go 0. We're just gonna do that for the moment, just to test this out. Okay, no, I don't like that, but I've purposely done it in here for a reason. I actually want this to be a fairly sort of dark like that. I'm just going to hit refresh. So the idea is when someone clicks on this, it focuses on that. Now, another thing I could potentially do is I could bring the menu up and put it ahead of this. Yeah, let's do that. So we're actually going to bring this back down to 5, and then the button itself is going to have a Z index of 10. So if I hit refresh, I scroll down here. Oh, the button doesn't. It's not a positional. We don't want absolute, we don't want fixed, we don't want... I mean, relative puts it there, but we then need a background color to do it like that. And that way, that sort of works. All right, so we do have actually background color. We've got border color up here, background. We're gonna go var, background light. And when someone clicks on this, boom. All right, easy. I mean, we can animate that in also, which is probably going to be so much better if we do. So I'm just going to remove this. We're just going to move this down here. We're going to do something like this. Oh, all right, not a problem. I didn't break anything. I like that. All right, cool. Easy done. It focuses down onto that component. Now, another thing we could potentially do is we could add in a little bit of margin from this. So the drop-down items have a margin top of 0.5 rem. Now that I have a look at it, nah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So when someone comes in, they click on this. It's looking good. Firefox is doing that weird thing again where the hovers aren't updating in real time. It's really annoying, but that's fine. And then the idea is when they click on this, I'll just close the menu. So that will be V on click, and that will be drop down menu clicks. So the idea being is they click on this and they're like, oh, all right, cool. All right, I like that. Little tiny changes. Easy done. And then we've got the no items in folder down here. Yeah, I've got to figure out how I want to render the stuff. So I'm just having a think how I want to do this. And it'll probably have to be a next stream thing. I am getting very, very hot. There's still 33 degrees Celsius in here. That is 99, oh 91, sorry, Fahrenheit. Yeah, all right, no items in folder. And then when we actually do have something in here, kind of want those icons showing. So at the moment, if we upload a document, I'm just gonna upload armed with calculators. It looks like that. Now our reference, is if we go to media, we've got folders looking like this, and then profile pictures looking like this. So if I, and then you click in them, but in our sort of case, we'll be downloading those particular things. So yeah, we're definitely nicking some inspiration from Embraco here because I really like how they've got their stuff laid out like this. Yeah, all right. But before I do, let's have a look. So we're happy with it down here. Are we happy with it on the iPad? We're definitely happy with it on the iPad. That still looks relatively nice. If we go sideways, that still looks relatively nice. If we get rid of the screens, I mean, I like that. Well, I think it's simple, very, very simple. But I think people will understand what this particular section does and can quickly upload stuff to it. So we can say, you know what, it's a folder. Yeah, alright. It's just when there's items there, how am I going to display that on the screen? Now, at the moment, what we actually do, so I'm now thinking out loud, we're going to add in a folder, we're going to go folder name, and we're just going to go add folder. If you go into here, there's no breadcrumbs at all. There's breadcrumbs on here. So if we go into screenshots of NearBeach and stuff like that and go into tasks, there's breadcrumbs down here, and I think I'm going to add in the breadcrumbs in. That way, I don't need to add in the up folder. So what I mean is, at the moment, we've got this go to parent directory, and then you like that. But two reasons why I want to add in the breadcrumbs is I want to get rid of that parent directory thing. It was needed for this, it's fine, we don't need it now. But the breadcrumbs will act as knowing where you are in the folder structure and also navigating it. So instead of hitting it to go up one directory, hit it to keep going up to the root, we can just click on the media and it'll go there, all the documents root. So I like that idea. So we're going to implement it. I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do it. It's something pretty easy. What you do is you know what document you're on, you look at its parent, and then you do that, and it's just a loop to the end. Now, if you've got a long folder structure, I think after like 5 or 6, what you do is you just put in an ellipsis, and you put in the media root at the bottom, and that implies that you're fairly deep. That way, if someone decides to create a nested folder system that's 1,000 folders deep, it's not wrapping around the page and so forth like that. It's not going to cause any issues. So, going back into here, what we kind of want to do is figure out where we want to put that drop down. Sorry, not drop down. It'll actually go in the document list. I want to rename this to document render. Or document list render. Because now it's more than just this. so I'm going to definitely rename this. We're going to rename. It's going to be document list render. I'm going to refactor that in. We're going to rename this. Cool, we're fine with that. Now we've got to make sure that this updates. Document list render. Alright, cool. And then what I want to do under document list render is we want to create one called breadcrumbs. Or yeah, breadcrumbs will work perfectly fine. Gonna right hand click, we're gonna do this, we're gonna call it breadcrumbs. At the moment, I'm just gonna hard code that in like so. We're just going to have it set at media or document group like that. I'm not going to worry about styling at the moment. That's perfectly fine. What we want to do, close that. We've got the breadcrumbs, we've got the drop down. We're going to close the drop down stuff. We're happy with the drop down stuff. We've got the list render, which is going to go up there. And then what we want to do under here is document list. And this is where we're going to list all the documents and folders. We actually got two. It is a document list and a folder list. Because they're going to do two different things. So a folder, when you click on folders will go at the start. But also when you click on a folder, it's going to mutate where you are. So it's going to tell the system, hey, I'm going to be moving to this ID. It then triggers off a bunch of filters and all that kind of fun stuff. So document list here. I'm just going to put in a, that's it. That's all I need in there. That's perfectly fine. We're also going to do a folder list. We've got the folder list. All right, done. That's easy. So, yeah, we're going to fix that. That's going to be perfectly fine. That is document list render. That's just going to be document list render. He's done. Everything's happy now. So, got the document list render. So, we've got the document list plus folder list dot length equals 0. So if there's nothing in there, that's when we're showing the empty folder and no items in folder. However, that being said, if someone were to put in a folder or something like that, boom, we've got values in there. So I'm going to go const folder list equals ref. It's going to be different to that. We're going to have a different interface. So we're going to scroll down into the utilities. We're going to right hand click. We're going to create a new file and we're going to go folder item interface. .ts. And we have reached another ad time on Twitch. For those on YouTube, essentially we run ads every half an hour on Twitch. That's just to stop the pre-rolled ads because they suck. We tend to do this. Yeah. Just to make sure no one misses out on any content. You get to see Socks. Here she is. She's like, it's hot. It's hot in this room. Yeah, she's complaining about the heat. Yeah, I wonder what the temperature is outside at the moment. It's got to be dropping. In fact, I can look at my phone. It's getting late. All right, my brain's going off. This is going to be the last ad break. I will be finishing soon. Apparently it is. It did say it was a lot lower than... Oh, alright, 29. Cool. Gonna be a really warm night, isn't it? At least tomorrow is going to be a reasonable temperature, so I'll leave all the house up and, you know, let the air flow. Alright. Getting there slowly. Alright, welcome back everyone. Let's get back into this. So, straight off the bat, we're going to export interface folder. We've got the folder name. That's just going to be a string. The folder ID, that's actually going to be a... will that accept a big int? I will accept a big int. And that's all we need. So in here, what we need to do is folder item interface. We'll just import it in like that. And that should be it. Then going down here, if nothing is going to... Alright, no, I need to now do folder list, and that's v if folder list.length is greater than 0. Alright, easy done. And then we want document list. That will be v if document list.length is greater than 0, and then we just go boop, like so. Easy done. So now if we go over here, that's all fine and dandy. We are going to add in a folder first, so we're going to go up here. We're going to just create a little thing in here. We're going to go folder ID. We're just going to say 10. And we're going to go folder name. We're just going to say design specs. Easy done. Notice how that thing has just disappeared. All right. Now this. All right, cool. No. I'll go to the interface. It wanted number. It didn't want any fancy stuff. I realized I'm not standing on my standing mat. No wonder why my feet are hurting. So yeah, that's disappeared. That's perfectly fine for the moment. I'm just going to create a couple of documents and so forth like that. If I want to actually implement this empty folder around it, I'll do it at the document list render side of things. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. All right. So let's get the folder rendered out. Perfectly fine. All right, cool. So in here, what we've got is we've got the props. So, thanks socks. We've got the define props, and then stop sitting on the mouse. I should just learn how to use this whole system without actually using the mouse, and then I don't need to worry about her sitting on the mouse. Const props equals define props, and we've got folder list, and that will be the folder actually no, that will be like this, and then type array as prop type, and then we'll have in the prop type folder item interface like that, and required is true because we'll need it no matter what. I just need to import this prop type, which will be import prop type from view. Everything works. I don't think we actually need the const stuff because we're not going to reference anything at the moment. What I want to do down here is we're going to do this, and then we're going to go div class equals folder item. We're going to import a folder icon and then some text. So going back up to here, we're going to go import, and then we're going to go folder. Yeah, all right. And I don't know why prop type is. Deleting that because sometimes what actually happens is this will pop up an error down here and you're like, all right, cool, do like that, and then you're like, all right, sweet, and then you just move it up here like that. All right. Now we're going to go down here, we're just going to go folder like this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have a div class equals folder name, and we're just going to put in here. This will be, oh, I haven't done the for loop yet. Hold on, give me a couple of seconds. All right, v4 equals item in folder list. And then we've got the key equals item dot folder ID. Easy done, everyone's really, really happy about that. We go down here, we then go, all right, cool, this will be item.folder name. I'm really, really happy about that. And now let's do the scope stuff. So we've got the folder list. That's all fine and dandy. Display, flex, flex direction is going to be a row by default. Flex wrap is wrapped. All right, cool. We're all happy about that. And then what we want to do is, for every folder item, we're going to have a height of, I'm going to start off with 3 rem and a width of 3 rem. Then we need to deal with the SVG. That is going to, I'm just going to say 2 rem at the moment. We're also probably going to state some other stuff in there. Oops, sorry, that was meant to be width. Right. Now, we haven't ported in the props yet. It's because up in the document list render, we just haven't done it. Oh, piss off. I had something else and I hit tab and it's like, no, you mean this? And I was like, no, I don't. You know that. Alright, so we've got folder list. Yep, like that. Alright, cool. I'm just gonna hit refresh. We're going to find out what's going wrong. So I'm just going to bump this off to the left. We're going to open up this. We're going to go to the view stuff. We're going to have to find all of this. So this actually goes down quite a fair distance. So this is actually part of the general details. Oops. This is part of the document component. I'm just going to edit that over there. So we've got the document component. That's part of the card component. And then we've got the document list renderer. So we've got the folder list. I haven't imported it. Yeah, have it in. No. No, haven't imported it. Okay, import document list. Import document list from. Actually, I want to see it. Try and. No. Yeah. All right, there we go. Import folder list. There we go. Why did it do it two different ways? I don't understand. Yeah, all right. I'm not going to correct that at the moment. If we go over here, aha. So this is now popping up down here. So we're like, yay! All right. So we've got the folder name, we've got the width and all that kind of stuff. So we've got the folder item. We're gonna go 5 RAM. 5 RAM for that. Still, I'm going to exaggerate everything at the moment. All right. So I'm going to go back into the folder list items. What we're actually going to do is we're going to go over here. We're going to go 10 RM and we're going to go 10 RM. Easy done. So this is the folder item. We're also going to go background color. And we're actually going to choose we actually want background. We actually want slightly different color. Or maybe a border. Alright, no. Border muted. Yep. Border radius. Yep, easy done. Having a look at the umbrella. Oh, I've got to sign in again. I just realized it's 5:10, nearly 6:10. Yeah, they've got a grey background and stuff like that. I'm not going to focus too much on colors at the moment, and the reason being is when we get the feedback, people put in color recommendations and stuff like that, which will be great. I can then apply that at the same time. That won't be hard to do. Yeah. Now, on a desktop, having an icon that big, I mean, sure. How big do we have it here? We've got it kind of like that. Sure. Yeah, this is where we've got to sort of decide how this will look. Now, I don't have any really long naming conventions, do I? Oh, that one fits. Yeah, damn. Yeah, we're gonna. All right. Oh. So I'm just having a quick think about all of this. So, one thing I want to do is I want to have this at the bottom. Now, in here, when we click on, let's say, blogs and stuff like that, I've got a white background on all of that. Yeah, I don't have that ability. Now, one thing I could do with this is put it down at the bottom. I could get the SVG to sit in the middle. That's not going to be a problem. I'm just thinking to put this in as a grid item. So this will be a display grid, grid template rows. It's going to be min, max 0 to 1 fr. That will be the icon. And then that will be the name. And the name itself will be 1rem. Down here with this, the folder name itself, it is going to be grid row. And it's going to be name. I'm going to do this one also, grid row, and that one's going to be icon. Everyone's happy. Down here, we're going to go font. Size is going to be 0.75 rem. Line height is going to be 1 rem. So that should fit in like that. Now the other thing is, you'll notice that there's a bit of padding in here. We'll need to add in a bit of padding. All right, that's always going to be the case every single time. So SVG. We can actually increase that. I'm gonna do that up to 4. And I want to change the line of the stroke width. There we go. That's looking a lot better. All right. Padding 0.5 rem. I think it's good. I think it's reasonable. And then what we need to do is we need to center just the SVG. So this is where margin auto doesn't work. I don't know how to do this on grid. Once again, we can go back to Flexbox very, very quickly. We haven't done a lot here. To get it to Flexbox, we just go delete, 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 delete. This all does stuff like that. So what we then want to do is we want to do flex R1 on for that particular one. Oh, no, that one. No, that one won't work with that. Yeah, because that's an SVG. I will need to actually put that inside a div. And then, yep, not a problem. So we're going to go in here. And we're going to do something like that. Now, the folder icon, I've got this folder icon now, and what I can do is I can do flex one. Nah, that didn't work. All right. I haven't gone display flex, have I? No. And then flex direction column. There we go. All right, getting there. And then the folder icon. In fact, I'm just trying something out very, very quickly. No, that won't work. All right, no problem. In the folder icon, that will be display flex, align item center, justify content center. That should get us there, but we still need the flex one there. Oh, now this is not doing that for us anymore. Is it because folder name I didn't specify the height? We had it before. I don't know what I did. I did something, it worked, and I'm like, yay. Height 100%. All right, done. Cool. So that's looking rather well. We can also go font weight is 100 here. Now, we had a problem before where that wasn't working, and then I had to restart the whole thing. And so I'm not too worried about that at the moment. But I think that's looking rather good. I might do font family robot. Just do that. There we go. All right. So that's looking pretty good. I'm fairly happy with that. Anyway, it's well past 10 o'clock now. Let's see if I can deploy this. I'm just gonna go over here. That's the old NearBeach, don't worry. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna go remove the dist folder. Cool, easy done. npm run build. Whilst that is, all right, sweet. We want to go. Actually, I'm just going to open up the folder here. We're going to go into sites. We're going to go into our new design mockup. We're going to go into our disk. We're going to drop this and this into my Azure Web thing. Azure Web app. I just forgot app for a second. So we'll drop that. Drop that. Let's go back over here. Let's open up our mockup. Let's go into a project. You can click on any one of those. And we'll need to refresh, but there we go. All right, cool. So good news. This design's up there. I'll be playing around with it probably tonight and tomorrow. Yeah, the folder icons are pretty easy. The document items themselves will be a little bit trickier in the sense that what I've got to do is for images, I'll actually put out the image for a PDF and Word document and stuff like that. I'll have an icon.
yeah, we should also do hover effects over these and so forth like that. We've also got to figure out how we want to actually delete it, and we also want to figure out how do we want to interact with these. So I still want them to be able to drag and drop. So the idea is you can move stuff around really easily. I don't know if we want to implement the Umbraco thing where if you click on them, it'll pop up sort of information on it. So for example, like this, you can then see some information around it and download the file that way. I feel like that's probably going to annoy people because they might want to click on it and just download it straight away. So I've got to figure that one out. I've also got to figure out how we're going to delete stuff, and whether or not we have an icon in there too. So yeah, a bunch of stuff I've got to figure out. All right, let's find someone to raid. I got a couple of really good ones. Tim Bedeau. Alright, we haven't visited Tim in a while, so let's go raid. Alright. Anyway, thank you very much everyone for being here tonight. It has been wonderful. We got a lot done. This is coming along really well. Once again, it's a bit of a slow process. I do stuff outside of stream. Yeah, I do stuff outside of stream. I'm terrible with design. Once we get the design down pat, it won't. Hopefully, it won't take that long to actually implement stuff. So we'll be quickly rolling ahead, getting stuff sort of set up, and yeah, get it out the door. Anyway, thank you very much. Let's raid Tim Bedeau. And for those on YouTube, terribly sorry you won't be able to follow us with the raid, but don't forget to like and subscribe. It actually does help the channel. And yeah, thank you.